What is up, everybody? My name is Alex. I'm your host here on the Swole Friends podcast, as well as a co-founder and COO here at Swolverine. Swolverine is an endurance athlete and active lifestyle brand. We have over 31 different performance powders and daily health supplements that are all proprietary blend-free, clinically dosed, and scientifically proven effective. We also offer one-on-one nutrition coaching, training templates, online personal training, and a brand new service, which is competitive one-on-one fitness programming. But today, you are listening or watching because we're here on the Swole Friends podcast, sitting down for episode 26 with Scott Tetlow. You may know Scott Tetlow as a really good CrossFit athlete, but what you may not know are some of these other things that we're going to get into today about what has shaped him. What are some of the adversities he's faced? How does he manage two businesses, being a husband, having kids, and being also in the U.S. Navy? So he lives a very, very high octane lifestyle, and I'm super excited to host him. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So it is, you guys, we're recording it at, I believe it's 7 o'clock where you are, Scott?
Yes.
So 7 p.m., you know, he hopped on live. He had a kiddo in his hands. I expected a barbell, had a kiddo. And, you know, he's getting ready to do this thing in the evening where he doesn't have very much time for really anything. And he's been to the CrossFit Games. He just completed semifinals West. What does a typical day in the life of Mr. Tetlow look like?
Well, with the soon to be 1-year-old, he gets me up around 5 a.m. I try to keep him in his bed till 5:30, and then get up with him. I kind of hang out, watch some TV with him, and then get up, make breakfast, head to work for the day. I got to be at work at the gym. I go to the gym for like 7:15 to 9, and then after that, work starts till about 3 o'clock. And then when I come home, either today I had to go get both the kids because the wife was working a little late, and then I come home, cook dinner, then try to hang out with some family. I try to get a workout in, another 60-minute session in the evening, and then get the kids ready for bed and come home and hang out with the wife. Solid.
So not only a full-time professional, full-time dad, you also hit 2 training sessions in a day.
Try to. Not always. Try to.
So sometimes that goes out the window, right?
Yes.
Okay. What type of training do you do in the morning as compared to the evening?
I like to get knowing that the morning is more of like, hey, it's my guaranteed time. I try to focus on my weaknesses, so I like to do a lot of my strength training in the morning and high power output workouts. And then in the evening, I've been building my home garage on Facebook Market since 2019. So it's slowly when I find the deals. So there's some stuff that I can do a lot of the stuff here, but it's mostly like Metcon type workouts. I don't like to lift heavy here because the last time I did that at my other house, I ended up making a 3x3 hole in my garage floor. So I try not to do that anymore and just focus on and just do conditioning pieces here at the house.
Gotcha. When did you start CrossFit? Like, how did you find CrossFit?
So I started in 2015. I was actually on a deployment. The first CrossFit gym I ever went to was actually in Panama and South America. So we went there. Like me and my buddy were trying to, our goal was to kind of lean up a little bit. And we were doing this bodybuilding stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting strong, but and nutrition. I was 21 years old, I think, and I didn't know a daggum thing about nutrition wise. So I'm sitting there, and that's probably the reason why I wasn't leaning up. But we saw one of the guys that we were with was like, hey, you ever heard of CrossFit? Like, look at these dudes. This is back when Rich Froning, the OGs were Chris Spieler, all the OGs were out there doing it, and like we saw a video, and my buddy was like, "Hey, we want to lean up, man. We might as well start doing CrossFit. Like, look at these guys, look how lean they are." And so we ended up doing it, not knowing what we were doing, and yeah, that's how I found it. When I came back home, actually, from deployment, there just so happened I was driving home, and I saw a CrossFit sign, literally like to the entrance of my neighborhood that we were living in. And I was like, oh, cool. So I kept going up there. I had no idea what a CrossFit gym really like their time schedule was. So I kept actually going up there, and nobody was there because I thought they were open. Like I thought it was like a global gym kind of. So I'm like, dude, this place isn't even open. Finally, I went there and the owner's working out. And I was like, finally, hey, I come here like all the time. When does anybody work out here?
Middle of the night.
They're like, oh, well, we have class times in the morning and the afternoon. I was like, oh, no wonder why. I was coming at like 2, 3 o'clock as soon as I got off work to kind of figure out. So that's kind of, once I got going in there, started, meshing with the community a little bit. It's set for me. I couldn't go back to anything else.
Yeah. It's really hard to, start CrossFit and like get into it, be competitive, get your heart pumping, and then like think about going back and doing some bicep curls, you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's very, even now sometimes, like where if we travel, then, and they have these hotel gyms or something we go to, I go, it's just a different motivation level. Like it's so hard to force me to do something. Like I'll bring my jump rope in there and just do 500 double unders or something. do something that's CrossFit because I can't go into a global gym again.
So when did you start being competitive with it, and who was the catalyst, if anyone, for sparking that competitive fire within you?
It really wasn't anybody that really sparked it. I went on, it was 2000, I gotta get my years right. I think it was 2016, 2017. I went on another deployment and I had 6 months to kind of, hey, I'm away from the family. We have I set up, I was in charge of getting all the equipment ready to go for the guys. And so I kind of, got everything that I wanted to use. And I kind of said, I saw the competitions going into the 2016 regional. So this was after the 2016 regional. I was like, man, that's really cool. So I set myself like a little goal on deployment, and I was like, hey, like I'm gonna start doing 2-a-days and go from there. And anything in the morning I didn't really know what I was doing. I was like, anything in the morning that's anything that I'm gonna reach muscular fatigue first, I'm gonna do in the morning, and then anything I'm gonna reach like cardiovascular fatigue, I'm gonna do in the afternoon. So I started doing 2-a-days, and I didn't really even know like if I was improving because I had no one to gauge off of. I was just out there by myself every day doing it. I tried to talk some friends into coming out with me, but they didn't want to do it. So I didn't really know like how much I've advanced until the Open in 2017, where the very first workout I was like, holy smokes, I took like second in my region. Maybe I'm pretty good. So I really didn't know. But that was like when I started taking it more serious into the competitive level.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I think that, the beauty of CrossFit is I know it complements all the other things, right? Especially being active, being in the military. It's just they help you do your job better, right? They help give you a place to expend your stress and expend that energy. So you're not, putting that towards your job, and giving you a place where you can actually have like some sanity sometimes. And that kind of goes across for anyone. But then to be able to be competitive with it really ignites something different. And so once that happened, were you like, the thirst never went away? Did you have times when you're like preparing for season and you're like burnt out and you're like, F this? Or have you experienced that type of mental negativity?
2019, that's when the first year that I just did the Open, and then I was able to do the last on. That's when CrossFit kind of the games, how to qualify for the games changed to go to these sanctioned events and do all that stuff. And I wasn't able to do any of them because of work. And so the last one, I was trying to qualify for the Rogue, and I ended up on the very first workout, or on the second workout, I ended up like pulling my back, and I was like done for the season. And that took me out for like almost 3-4 months. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. It was like kind of like going, an injury. It was my first serious injury, I would say. That's back when I was like 24 years old. And it was my first serious injury to where I couldn't do anything. And I was like, it kind of like took me to a different spot. I just didn't know how to handle it well. So finally, once I healed up, it took me a while to get back into it. But then I slowly started finding that competitive drive again.
Definitely. What were some of the things that helped you work through that injury and find that passion or desire to move forward? Was it other people? Was it community? Was it just like sitting in a dark room trying to figure out what to do? I mean,
yeah, it was a little bit of both. the sitting around not feeling like I need to be up doing something. And then also it was one of my buddies at work that I would work out with. And he and I were kind of pushed each other a lot. And whenever I got back into it, he was ready to go, and he kind of like kept me motivated.
Cool. Have you mainly trained by yourself, or have you had a group? Or
I train, so I do have a group. Sometimes we train like once a week, but I would say I do 95% of my training by myself.
Wow. And I feel like that's pretty uncommon, at least to be able to push yourself to the level that you've been at.
Right. And I mean, no, there's some guys that I talk to that do train by themselves. I think up to, they don't have, some people just time schedule and everything. I know like Tim Paulson trains a lot by himself. So there's definitely some guys that train by themselves, but I try to rope in anybody and who's willing to do it. I roped in one guy who used to train up in Invictus. That moved down here, and I was like, oh, you train up Invictus, these guys, you probably worked out with them, like come work out with me. And I roped him in for like 3 weeks to work out with me, just to have somebody to talk to about.
Until he's like, this sucks, I'm out.
Yeah.
Do you write your own programming? Do you have a coach? When did you get a coach, if you have one?
So no, I do Mayhem. I used to write my own programming leading up to Rogue, and then after Rogue this past year, I was like, man, it's just another thing I got to do and focus on. So I went with Mayhem, and I got one of my buddies here at the gym who is my coach, John Burchard. He went up to Rogue with me, and he just knows me as an athlete because he's part of the group that I work out with at the gym sometimes. So he knows me as an athlete, and I like to overthink what I'm capable of, and he brings me back down to reality. So he and I are very good team.
Cool. So let's kind of dig into that a little bit. I mean, you as an athlete, I think people can see you online or see you compete. You're very composed. You're very focused. I mean, I think outside perspective, but you're like, nah, not at all.
I can give you a perfect example of how I was not composed this past 3 weeks ago.
No? Well, tell me.
No, so I'm in the final heat with all the big dogs, and one RM snatch. I knew I wasn't going to be anywhere compared to them. So I'm like sitting there in the warm up, but like we walk over there to where we're staging. They have 4 platforms out there, and Pat Vellner goes out there and hits a 225 power snatch, and I'm like, cool, man, like you're at my 90% right now, just power snatching it. And so I go up there, I hit it one time. I'm trying to stay warm, and then I walk up. I hit 220. I wait, I rest a little bit, and I go up to hit it again, and I miss it. And everybody saw me, and I'm like, oh, what do I do here? Do I take off weight? Like nobody wants to take off weight. Like I'm supposed to open with this, and I was like putting on weight, taking off weight, deciding if I want to do it, take it off. Oh, I'll go get 85, and finally I just said, screw it. I'm just not even going to lift. I'm just going to go out there. Like I was super nervous about that event, just knowing that I was in the final heat, and that was probably going to be the event that took me out of the final heat. So I definitely did not stay composed in the warm-up area, and that's just the learning progress. That's the process. Learning process for it is knowing that, hey, you gotta do a little bit better back there in the warm-up area, and realize that you have a job to do, and you're only capable of what you're capable of.
Gotcha. And what you believe you're capable of too, right? Like, I mean, you can hit that weight, but then if you're sitting there beating the shit out of yourself and you're like, you actually can't, you're
and that's, gotta stay positive. Definitely. But that's just a little story. I know I might, sometimes if I look composed, more than likely I'm not.
Okay, everyone knows now, so the secret's out. What was your favorite part about the West semifinal this year?
I mean, taking an event win, was pretty satisfying. I kind of, I just going out there, I knew that one was going to be, and I kind of called it. I was like, hey, I'm gonna win this workout. I was in the back saying it, and I ended up doing it. And yeah, that was super cool. I think that's three semifinals in a row. I have gone out there and won a workout, so I still have those home run hitters. And just, another highlight, like I said, I've never been in the final heat going up for 2 days in a row. I was in the final heat. So that was another accomplishment of mine. And that was kind of like where I wanted to stay.
Cool. How do you feel about the structure of semifinals this year? How do you feel about having more athletes that you're up against for the weekend?
I like it. I like it. You have those. I like the structure. I like how it is, because before it was just like, I hated having different workouts for different events and stuff, because it's like nothing was really like, I guess, streamlined, in a way, and everyone was doing something different. So I like it how it is. The 60 individuals, I do like it, because you can have those individuals in like the 45, 50 that can come up and, hey, distance to put themselves in between somebody that's chasing you and yourself or whatever. So you have those, but it can go the opposite way for you as well. And so there's pros and cons to that, but I definitely like the 60 individuals there, just because it's more of a competition. You get a little bit more rest time between events as well, which is nice. And I like it how it's, exactly where you're going before, so you're not sitting there a month before, where am I going to go to 4 different locations? Oh my goodness, am I going to Canada? Like, I need to start getting this stuff ready. It's like, it's I think it's less stress for the athletes, knowing exactly where to go and when they're going.
Totally. And that's a big thing. I mean, you're a business owner, you're a father, you work full time. Like, it's not like you can just like pick up next week and go do that. But pick up and go do this thing and have not your life fall apart.
That's more stress on my wife than me.
Yeah.
I need to know. So I need to know when to take off. I need to do this. Oh, I'm stressing out. Like, oh my goodness, you're stressing me out.
Like, just book the hotel. No. Yeah. So tell me, what are your businesses? What are they? What's going on there?
Okay, so the first one is it's called Flame, Frontline Athletics and Mental Excellence. So what it is me being in the military, I wanted to kind of provide some type of like structure, training, how to train for these PT tests that are you have to pass in order to go to be a police officer, to be a firefighter, EMS, or anything. Also, with it being such a higher demanding job physically and mentally, that we wanted to provide some like training for mental fortitude or something, and just to kind of like how to cope with stress whenever you're in those stressful situations. So me and 3 other guys got together, got a runner from Northwestern. He's a professional runner, used to be sponsored by I think he was a Reebok runner. I'm not 100% sure actually, but he used to be sponsored by some major run company. Yeah. And then I have another guy who's a mental coach, has gone around, done TED Talks and stuff. So he deals with the more of the cultivating the mind, how to the stress, talking with the stress reliever, how to identify what stresses you out. And then I have another guy who's behind the scenes. He is a collegiate level swimmer. So if we do have guys that want to break off into certain tracks, then we do have that. But right now he's also got a degree in like IT work, so he runs all our websites and stuff.
That's nice.
And then I do the whole like strength conditioning, but it's like a curriculum style based 2-week course, because it's like, hey, we try to do, it's virtual. We try to do like team building exercises with it, because whenever you go to these higher demanding jobs, you have to rely on your teammates to help you up. Whether police academy, you have other people out there that it's really a team effort for you to get to complete one task. Wow, you're gonna be up all night with all that sugar.
Child cameo.
Yeah, that's typical. He likes to have the spotlight for about 10 seconds whenever I do these things. But yeah, so it's one of those things. We're still in the process of launching. We're very close to launching, but it is something that's in the because we want to make sure is that we put the best material out there, and we are very professional about it. And the whole virtual thing is kind of new, so that's what we're trying to do. And yeah, so it's really cool. It's a really cool concept. I think it could definitely stick. And then the other one is I'm part owner of Hidden Tattoo Collective, which is my wife's business, who she's now tattooing. She was a police officer, and I was taking up a lot of the family time, and a lot of it was hard on her as well. So she came home one day and was like, I want to do something else like that. Like, I'm never home with the family, I never get to see my kids. Cool. I'm cool with it. What are you going to do? I want to tattoo. Cool. And so the plan was for her to tattoo for a year, because she did tattooing before, but she did it like 4 years on and off. But now she wanted to do it like full blown. So the goal was for her to tattoo for like 6 months to a year, and go to a tattoo shop and get that experience there, doing it full time. But then we found a deal, and we couldn't. Or the goal was it was always a goal for us to open up our own shop, because I'm very entrepreneurial, and so we found, she looked at it. She always likes to look ahead, and when I have to say no, we're not ready yet. But she found this place. And she was like, "Will you just please go take a look at it?" I was like, "Fine, I'll go take a look at it, but we ain't getting it. Okay, we're not gonna rent it out. Don't even ask. I'll go take a look at it." So I went down there, and I was like, "Man, this is really cool. I like this place." It was inside city limits where we're at. We're in Slidell, Louisiana, 20 minutes north of New Orleans, and it was in the downtown area. And we would have been that, like, hey, no other tattoo shops are inside city limits, because they just released it open for they just opened it up for that kind of business inside city limits. So we're going to be the first tattoo shop inside city limits, which is cool. And yeah, so my wife is the artist, and we're trying to have 2 to 3 more artists come in there, and I'm just the behind the scenes manager in a way. But yeah, so right now I was just in there all weekend demoing myself, trying to save some extra bucks. So
yeah,
I just went and dumped 3,500 pounds at the dump yesterday doing work. So that's what my weekend job is now, doing that.
That's so exciting though. And as much like work as it is to save that money and put in that time and effort, like my business partner and I here at Swolverine, we painted the walls, we pulled up the boards, and I just was telling someone I came in to buy some stuff. I was like, I laid this floor.
Yeah,
it feels
that's what I'm gonna be doing. Exactly. I got a buddy that lays floor. I was like, hey dude, I'll help you. Like, you don't have to pay your working hand, man. I'll come in there and help you. Just teach me what to do, and I'll be your labor guy.
Yeah, right. You want me to go get that? Okay. Yeah. And it's really cool. And I think that's really neat to be able to do that type of have that type of partnership with your wife. That's a really unique thing to have, right? Some people back up boats and are like, I think I'm going to get divorced. And then you guys are like, I'm going to open a tattoo shop, and this is great. And, hopefully that will contribute to the relationship and, bringing that forward. But what do you feel like has been some of the more trialing things while creating your businesses for you? Is it time? Is it, finding the right people? What is that for you?
It's definitely time, but just learning the process. Like, it's so like, wait, what's the difference between federal taxes, parish taxes, state taxes? Like, I'm trying to figure it all out as we go, and having time to go over there and meet with these people, and because we got to get the city's approval, we got to pull permits, it is a process. And I'm like, I'm one of those guys to ask for, because I don't know any better, so I ask for forgiveness instead of permission. They're like, oh, I didn't know. Like, oh, we had to call who before we did this? So that's kind of how I'm getting through it. I'm just asking for forgiveness, or my wife and I are asking for forgiveness instead of permission. But yeah, definitely time is a struggle as well. But we're working through it, and once we work through it, it'll start moving more smoother, and the next thing you know, it'll be second nature for us.
Definitely. For the Frontline Athletics, right? That's what it's called.
Frontline Athletics and Mental Excellence. Yes.
Cool. Okay. So what is like kind of the hypothetical launch date? What's the goal with that? And then how would people, like, if they're listening to this and they're like, oh my gosh, Scott, I want to be a part of that, or I want to learn more, how would they do that?
So we have a website, flameprep.com, and we're currently waiting on videos to be made because we wanted to, how we want to do it is like we have 3 tracks based on everyone's fitness level. So we're doing videos to make sure that, hey, we have movement demo and all this stuff, because we're not going to be, we'll have a chat and stuff, but we won't be there to like, hey, you're in the gym, like, can you show us the video? So we want to be able to provide all that prior to and explain what the workouts are. So the video content is what's taken so long, because like I said, we got 3 tracks over 2 months worth of stuff. So essentially 60 workouts, if I'm doing my math right. I don't know, a lot. There's a lot. So we just want to make sure that we're, like I said, the professionalism of what we're trying to create here, and we just want to hold ourselves to that standard. So the websites are taking the videos are taking the longest, but if you want to check it out and go look at it, it's called flameprep.com, and gives you a background about the coaches and kind of like what to expect. And we have this thing called the why, like, hey, why do we do this? Why are we holding ourselves to the higher standard? Why do we want to pursue this kind of career? So it's got some informational reading on there as well to kind of motivate individuals.
Mm-hmm. That's very cool. I definitely think the mental aspect of a lot of things is missing in the coaching world, whether that's in CrossFit or whether that's in, being a police officer or training for things. So I think that's going to be a really unique offering, the mental excellence aspect of it. But how did, so before I ask my next question, I know that the Army Warrior Fitness Program, is that right? Does the Navy have anything like that?
No, the Navy does not.
Are you
currently working on it?
Like, hey, I'm a badass. Navy, do something.
I'm currently working on it. The Navy they came out there to Pasadena and did some stuff with me. So the Navy knows about it. I've sent up some stuff trying to create it. And the guy who started the Army Warrior Fitness Program, I know him. So I reached out to him, said, hey, how did you do this? Kind of got the background details. So I'm trying to start something like that. And, but yeah, it's, it's anything in the Navy, it takes, in the military, it takes a while to get approved because it has to go through so many people.
For sure. Yeah. Well, and I know a lot of our community here at Swolverine are our service members and our people in the CrossFit community. So if there's anyone out there listening, message Scott, give him a follow. I'm going to shout out your handle real quick. It's at CFSTETLOW. So CrossFit S Tetlow. Yeah, it would be really cool to, if anyone's out there listening and has those connections. Scott's doing tremendous things for people out there. You've seen him compete as an athlete. You've seen him. you heard from him just now. He coached for himself forever. So I think that'd be really neat. But I think you're trying to, transitioning into your sponsorships. Who are you currently working with at this time?
Me, myself, and I. Oh, and Mayhem. I'm with Mayhem.
No, and that's okay. And it's, you're not obviously like the biggest fitness icon, right? Like CrossFit to you, explain to us the why. Explain to us what's the passion, what's the drive? Why have you been a competitive athlete for the last 7 years? How did you, get to the games and other years like you don't get to the games? Like, what does this mean to you and what cup does it fill for you?
It's I personally, before I found CrossFit, I was kind of like, I played sports all in high school, wanted to play college baseball, didn't happen. And so like, I kind of lost that competitive drive. And then when I found it, I found CrossFit, I was like, oh man, I get to compete against people. So I found that competitive drive, which helped me, stay motivated. And with that, it's kind of hard to let that go. But it also shows I have my son's 7 years old and he's out there. He sees me working out in the gym. I have him come out there and he's doing stuff while I'm out there. And I want to show that, hey, with hard work, determination, and the right goals, that anything is possible, that you can achieve anything. It just takes time. It can't be given to you yesterday, or it can't be like handed to you on a plate. You have to put in the work. And that's what I want to demonstrate to my kids, that hard work will get you farther than anything else.
I love that. How has CrossFit I guess that's a way to say contributed to your life, but has there been times where, we talk with other athletes who are starting families or have families and where CrossFit's actually taken away? Has like your sport or being like a, high level athlete ever taken away from your life? And how did you navigate that?
I would say, yes, it has. My wife is very open about it, that she does not, she's ready for me to kind of go back to just working out once a day. And so I have those honest conversations with her. And so last year after semifinals, I told her, I was like, I want to give it one more go. Like I would feel unfulfilled if I didn't give it one more go. And with that, she supported me. She knows the dedication that it takes, but it also comes down to, hey, I need you right now. And I need you to get the kids because I'm doing this or I'm not feeling good or something. So you have to put that your other life on hold to make sure that your home life is taken care of, because without them making sure that they're okay, like I'm just, if anything goes wrong, it's like, oh man, I feel bad. Like I just need to get in and my training isn't there. So I've been, this last season, I've actually taken a step back, and I talked about being in a good headspace prior to competing, because I didn't really let that, before it was those, I didn't get my second session in today, or I left this piece out. I'd stress about it and I'd try to make it up on an off day or a recovery day. And then, another piece wouldn't get in. But this year I've taken a step back and really been okay with missing a piece or two. It's like, hey, that one piece, maybe I needed the extra rest anyways. I'll come back stronger tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And so I try not to let that bother me, as I know talking to other athletes, it bothers them if they miss a piece. And I completely understand, because I used to be like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think just taking a step back and, realizing like, hey, you have this and you also have this, but it's okay to put that on hold for a little bit, because one piece, two pieces throughout the week aren't going to make or break you.
For sure. And I think that's definitely one approach, where, okay, missing the pieces there. You have other athletes who take a different approach, who are like, I'm actually just going to stop, right? To have a family, enjoy it. I know talking with, for example, Sean Sweeney, like I have been doing this. This has been my life. My wife has made these sacrifices, but now I want to like just chill out and have some kids and have fun and like train for fun. And, do you feel like that is dependent upon the athlete? Or do you feel like there's one way that's better than another? Do you wish that you would have taken a break and come back to it?
No, I don't wish I would have taken a break, because I'm coming up on 31 years old. I don't have time to take a break if I'm going to do it. No, I don't think any athlete should be. I think that they should be, hey, if they want to do it, that is their decision. And if they want to take a break, hey, great for you, dude. That's, I support any decision. I think that's a great decision. Whatever they decide to make, it's, whatever is best for them at that time. And I think a lot of people should support that that stance that they take. If they, like Sean, I know he wants to come back, I think. So I think it's great. It's awesome that he was, I guess, mature enough and said like, hey, I'm going to take a break and do this whole family thing. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to have fun. I'm going to come back healthy and I'm going to come back stronger than ever. So,
Yeah, kind of depends on the person.
Yeah.
Have you faced any injuries? Speaking of adversities, have you faced any injuries in your athletic career?
I have. The back in 2019, but probably the most serious one that I still deal with is I actually have bulging discs from my C5 to my C7. So I took me out. Last year, not what year was it? 2021. Yeah. 2022 Wadapalooza, I qualified, and about 2 months before Wadapalooza, I ended up doing something to my neck to where it was affecting my way of life. I literally could not turn my head for probably 2 months, and it was bad. And I went in and saw a bunch of stuff. I got an MRI done, I got X-rays done. And it still bothers me, so I have to really work on it. I'm not an anatomy person at all. Like I'm really No, but I think the muscles are so tight to support that injury that it locked up, and I just couldn't turn my neck, and I have to limit the overhead stuff. Like I know, like, hey, nope, my neck is bothering me, so I don't need to be doing any more shoulder overhead today.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to take smart enough to not get re-injured with that, even though it's still sometimes like a nagging issue. But yeah, that's probably the most severe one. Because I had to pull out of Wadapalooza. It was literally like 6 months where I couldn't train full, trying to get over that injury. That was tough too.
That's tough mentally too, to not beat it out of yourself and recognize like, oh, I'm losing time. I'm losing this. I'm not going to have this opportunity. And, and let that get in your way more so than the injury. Right. What do you think about younger athletes and hitting burnout, pulling out of the season, not being able to compete? Do you feel like that was something you experienced when you first found CrossFit and were going at it that hard? Do you feel like that's a newer thing with the competitiveness and professionalism and expectations of the sport? How do you feel like that's changed over the years? Have you faced that, and what can you speak on for them?
I'm not gonna speak for them, but I can kind of, I guess. So what I would say is that those athletes that pulled out, you got to think about how long they've been doing it for. That's pretty much what they know. They also have a lot of people depending on them to make it, to continue to compete at that level, which puts a lot of stress on them. And, I could completely like burnout is a real thing. The day in, day out, if that is your job, like I don't know anybody who loves their job after 10 years of doing it. It's like, dude, I'm ready, but I'm already halfway there kind of thing, so it's their job, and their job has been that's their job since 14, 15 years old. They've been taking that serious, and now they're 20, 21. So they've been doing it for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
That burnout's a real thing. So I think it's smart for them at that age, at the younger age, take a year or two off, have fun with fitness again. And whenever you decide to come back, it's not, the confidence is there because they know that they've qualified before, they can do it. Also they know what it takes. The commitment is there because they know what it takes to be at that level because they've done it before. So there's nothing new to them about it. It's just, hey, I just needed to take a year off, do something else, enjoy time, me time, go have experience life. Because when you're in the gym 5 days a week, 6, 7 days a week, and that's all you live inside that gym because of training, you don't experience life. And 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, well, I know that was some of my best times, like out there, especially when I was on my own for the first time. And I had a freaking blast. So for them to experience life and be outside the gym and enjoy themselves, I think it's a great decision. And hopefully, they do come back and want to compete again because they're obviously the best. And yeah.
Do you think that it's something new though? Do you think this is something that's like the younger generation is just something new for them? Or do you feel like the people who've been in the sport for the last 5-10 years have experienced this?
I don't know. So it's because you have people like Noah Olson. That's, I think this is going to be his 10th trip to the games. Mm-hmm. So you have something. So maybe it is something new that we are experiencing, or maybe it's something to where they have different individuals telling them to kind of, hey, take a year off because we're going for the long game. So it could be, I think this is something new that we're seeing, is we're starting to see these teen athletes come up because the sport's grown. So we're starting to see these teen athletes come up into the adult division, the elite division, 18 to 35. So I guess it is new. So I think we're going to continue to see this throughout the teen athletes coming up into this, because a lot of them just want to take breaks or they get burnt out. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. And it's okay. I mean, I think it's just a unique perspective to have someone like you, right, who does so many different things and is not a full-time athlete and not just like has 12 sponsors that pay your bills and you know what I mean, and still go to the games.
And those 12 sponsors that pay their bills, that's the pressure. Like, oh, I gotta do this. This is my living. If I don't qualify, they might drop me or something. So it is huge pressure on them. And them being so young, it's a lot of stress and the pressure, but what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. So
for sure. I like that. So what does Scott do in his free time? If those little slivers of free time that you have?
Well, I like to take my son fishing. We go to the pond back there, go catch some bass, brim, catfish. Usually all my free time is spent with my kids. If I'm not at the gym, take my wife out. My wife and I try to do like a date night once every other week, and we go. We like to eat out. That's like our thing. So we go do these restaurants and have a good time, or at the escape room. We like to go to the escape room. Mm-hmm. She's better than me at it. But other than that, I like to hang out with take my son to go outside and go pitch to him. Go play. He's super into baseball right now, which was my sport growing up. So I'm like, hey, anytime he wants to go to the field or anytime he wants to go outside and go hit, I'm like, yep, let's go. Mm-hmm. So, because I enjoy it, and that's kind of like my free time. Other than that, I'm in the morning, I guess, is my me time, and is what I call it before everyone wakes up. I binge watch some TV shows.
Okay, so that's your morning routine?
Yeah, that's my morning routine. Right now, I just finishing up based on a true story.
Okay,
it's like a murder podcast one. It's pretty good. It's on Peacock. So, I just finished that one up.
Do you have any other like favorite bingey TV shows that you like to watch or movies?
Ted Lasso was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as movies go, I mean, I watched. I'm trying to think. I haven't really watched too many movies lately, but Ted Lasso is one. And then The Silo on Apple TV. I pay for all these subscriptions. God, it's getting me. But The Silo, and then my wife's watching. We watch Vampire Diaries now.
Okay.
So we just pick some TV shows and watch it.
Yeah. Is there snacks? Do you have any go-to snacks?
Popcorn for the kid when I'm with the kids, but other than that, I kind of do. I've created this. I don't know. On Pinterest. I saw this and I tried it out. It's some like oat flour it's like dessert, but it's protein dessert with plant-based protein, and then I throw on some Cool Whip, sugar-free Cool Whip with it. And it's like you blend up the stuff. Put it in the microwave for like a minute to a minute and a half. Throw some chocolate chips in there too, and then throw it on the Cool Whip because the Cool Whip like melts it, and Cool Whip melts and it kind of cools the brownie. It's like a brownie, but yeah. So that's my go-to night snack.
That sounds good. What's the diet like? I mean, are you guys prepping it a lot ahead of time since you don't have much time, or?
No, I cook in the morning, and I don't like eating. I did that whole meal prep thing, and there's something about it that I do not like eating 2-day-old food. Mm-hmm. So I try to, I cook dinner every night, and I cook my breakfast, and then usually lunch is just leftovers from the night before for dinner.
Oh, that's easy.
But diet-wise, right now, I kind of just prepping for the next season. Mm-hmm. I realized that I need to put on weight to be able to lift as much as everyone else. So So I just actually got off the phone with James Free from 27 Health and Nutrition, and we're going to put me on a gaining protocol. Try to gain some weight.
All right. What's like the most you've ever weighed before?
205.
Okay. And then
go ahead.
How tall are you?
5'3".
Okay, cool. So, are you the same height as Colton, or are you? I think you're both.
I think Colton's got me by a half inch.
Yeah. 5'3.5".
Yeah.
That's okay. I feel like you get kind of tossed in the comparison game with him a lot just because of like similar stature and size.
Yeah, we're very, very similar athletes.
You hate it or you love it?
I mean, you're always being compared to somebody. I think Colton's an awesome dude. This past competition was the most I think I've ever heard him talk. So no, he's a good dude. I saw him afterwards, congratulated him on everything, and he's a great athlete. So
for sure. And when he does talk, he does have a lot to say. But until
then, you've had him on here before, right? Because he's a Swolverine athlete, right?
Yeah. We talked to him quite a bit, and so it's funny because I know the really talkative side of Colton,
Oh yeah,
and nobody else, very few people do. So it's always funny. But I mean, it's also nerve-wracking, right? Like kind of like you said earlier, you're going out on the floor and you look composed, might not be,
Yeah, if I'm not if you're anyone that's back there with me, if they ever see me, if I'm not back there coking and joking and talking to people, then I'm stressed about something. Real talk. Like I'm usually like I go over there and I just mess around and I like to have a good time, no matter, because if I'm not having a good time, then what am I doing this for? Yeah. But if I'm not having if I'm like serious, like game face on, it's like okay, like I'm stressed about something. I'm trying to focus. Usually I'm just back there shooting the shit.
That makes sense. Who's your favorite person to compete against? And it doesn't have to be anyone. But...
I'm trying to think of who I competed against the most. I guess. I don't know. I think Pat's a cool dude. Pat Belner's a cool dude to compete against because he's funny back there in the warm up area. I like them all. I like to compete against them all, but honestly, I think I like to compete against Colton most, just because like we're always compared, and it's like okay, I got him on that one. Oh damn, he got me on that one. Just like because it could go either way for us sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, and then you have the real tall athletes, and you're like, nope, not gonna climb the rope that fast, but I can try.
Yeah. Well, so that's funny on that seated legless rope climb. I was like, man, I went up to Colton. I was just like, hey, dude, I think we're about to see some taller guys struggle because they can't jump 13 feet up to the rope in just one pull touch. I think they're actually gonna have to climb the rope today, and it's like something that you and I experience every single time. So I don't know. I thought it was funny, but yeah.
Yeah. How is that sandbag?
Heavy, death.
Did it weigh more than you?
Yes, weighs 30 more pounds than me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I wasn't saying that like facetiously. Like I was.
Yeah. No, it was heavy. Like I was going into that last workout. I was 4 spots out, 34 points from a qualifying spot, and I was like, I know what this is going to feel like, and it wasn't the best workout for me because the bike isn't one of my best movements, and I know some of those dudes can rip through that thing. Like one dude I thought didn't even get on the bike. I thought he just went straight to the toaster bar. He was done so fast. I was like, bro, you gotta do the bike first.
Right. Cole's like shaking his bike closer to the bar.
Yeah. I didn't know what was going on because I was at like 5 calories when he was going to the rig. So but yeah, that when I had to send it I was like, hey, I'm gonna either win this event or I'm gonna drop to 30th place trying to. And so that's what happened. And when I picked up that sandbag on the second round, I said, this sucks. So yeah, the sandbag was heavy.
Sweet.
I'd rather clean it than carry it.
Oh yeah, especially the last event. Like you don't have too much left in the tank.
Yeah.
So what are the best ways that people can contact you, follow you, learn more about the academy? I know we talked about the website, but can people just reach out to you on your social media?
Yeah, I'm an open book. I reach out to, as long as there's nothing creepy or anything. I'm an open book. I try to get to everyone, and I even had a guy that reached out to me, asked me a question about the military. I was like, dude, that's like a phone call. I've had guys that I'm like, hey, if you want to talk about this is like serious. Like, dude, here's my number. We could talk. So I'm an open book. Contact me, message. Instagram is the pretty much my only social media platform besides Facebook, which I only use for Facebook Market. So
unless you're selling something good,
yeah, or I'm selling something. Yeah, I'm selling something. So, but definitely Instagram. Hit me up anytime, and I'll chat you away.
I love that. Also, I guess my next question is, being kind of a unique stature, being a unique athlete, being an athlete for a long period of time, being very well-rounded and a busy person. For those individuals who are in CrossFit who might be 5'3", who might want, think of you picking up that sandbag at semifinals and be like, fuck, like I can never do that. I'm 5'2". I'm 5, you know what I mean? Like I can never be like Scott. What's your biggest, level of advice that you could give to someone like to inspire them to pursue their athletic potential despite maybe, not being the average CrossFitter that comes to mind?
I would say like never say never. Like if you go into it with that attitude, then you're already halfway defeated. And always think that pick up something, just do it. Don't even if you're gonna do something, do it all the way and not don't overthink it. Like you have to work around what your body, what your genes are. So if you're short stature, okay, cool. Well, if what's the best, I guess, for rope climbs? Like I've had to practice legless rope climbs because it takes me 8 pulls to get to 15 feet. So what I try to do is, hey, I'm going to focus on how many, the longest pulls I can get. And I'm just going to practice that until it comes second nature to me. The sandbag, how can I hold that sandbag without having to interlock my fingers like this because I can't reach my arms all the way around it? Figuring out ways around certain movements that you can do with your either short stature or, you might not weigh as much. So like I don't weigh as much as the other athletes, 170 pounds. So I really have to be more technically sound on my lifts, knowing that, hey, so I can be up there with them. My lifts still aren't that technical because I'm working on it. But yeah, finding ways around that allows you to get the most out of what you have.
Definitely. And playing to your strengths, right? While developing your weaknesses. And it's okay if that takes more time. It's not like, oh, poor me. It's like, no, I'm going to do this so that it's not a weakness, right?
Exactly. Yep.
What is your advice to individuals who have kids and need to prioritize training while also balancing the value of family?
Time management. That's what I preach to a lot of people. Manage your time. It's, I talk quality over quantity. Don't go if you know that you have an hour to work out because you have to go get the kids or you have to do something. Don't try to fit 3 pieces in 1 hour and then you rush through those 3 pieces and you put 50% effort into those 3 pieces. Quality over quantity. If you put 100% into, hey, I got 60 minutes. What can I get done in 60 minutes? All right. And you put 100% effort into that. You're going to get more. You're going to progress quicker than if you were to try to get 3 pieces in 1 minute or 60 minutes and half-ass all 3 of them. Rush the weightlifting just to get to the Metcon. 60 minutes, I'm just going to weightlift. The Metcon, maybe I can get 10 minutes and go for a run or something later. So, it's time management, understanding what you can do within that slotted window that you have available.
Oh, that's really good advice. I love that. So I know you had mentioned that, CrossFit, competing, time, wife's happiness. What can we expect out of Scott Tetlow over the next year? Can we see you compete the rest of the year? Is it maybe time to take a break? What's going on there?
So I'm actually still a little torn.
Okay.
Gotta be quiet. No, I think my wife understands that, it's part of me. It's something I enjoy doing, and that if I don't do it, I might not be the same me, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. So like I said, I'm not really rushing into anything. I went back to the gym for the first time today and just did some moving pieces just to go back, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I still haven't really have a game plan. I've reached out to people to talk to see, what their thoughts are. Mm-hmm. And when that decision's made, I'm going to sit down and have a real talk with my wife, because she's the one that, helps me, supports me through it if I want to compete, because it is a lot of time to dedicate. And so I don't know yet. I'm just kind of enjoying life. I'm about to coach my son's soccer team in a month and a half. Ooh. And I'm just gonna play it by ear. I'm kind of like I wing it a lot of the stuff I do.
Definitely. Yeah. And I
Yep.
think it's kind of one of those things is like, we put a lot of pressure in identities. I am a CrossFitter. I am this. I am a business owner. And I think the similar thing we can find in all of that is that we live out our values. Right. And so it's like when our identity maybe is shaken or changed, how do we live out those values and apply ourselves in ways that feel fulfilling, that feel rewarding, that honor who we are and the person that we want to be,
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think I'll still compete, but I might not be at the same capacity of what I was doing, but just be there. Cause like I said, a lot of those athletes are my friends, and just being around them is always a good time. Like a little reunion. So just continue doing that. It might not be at the same capacity of what it was before.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're very well respected in the community. We respect you and admire you a lot for what you've done, for being the athlete you are, an upstanding just human being, and it's really cool to have had you on the podcast. I appreciate your time. I know you got to put the kiddos to sleep. Anyone out there knows an hour of sleep. Oh no. Anyone out there knows that an hour of a parent's time is very precious. So I do appreciate you spending it with us and our listeners. You guys make sure to go follow Scott. It's CrossFit. So CFSTETLOW on his handle. Say what's up, give him a follow, see where he goes in this next year and what he's going to do and how the soccer club team does. And make sure to subscribe to the Swole Friends podcast. We go live here on these recordings with incredible athletes and human beings, just like Scott, on YouTube. And then we do post the audio onto our Spotify and Apple podcasts. So make sure to follow along there. And Scott, I do appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next time.
Sounds great. Thanks.